Hello, today is March 1st, 2025. As always, we'll do our disclaimer. We'll go over our calls and then we'll make our predictions. It's the weekend, so we'll take a look at the longer term picture as well. My trading plan for Monday. Monday is March the 3rd, 2025. Remember, it's a plan. I can change my plan. My plan can be wrong. If you're going to risk your money, do so at your own risk. I was busy all last week. The market always makes its biggest moves when I'm away, so that's typically what happens. We called for a pattern with the early low. It tends to be a rally day with a high in the final hour, and we got that. We had some higher targets. We had 59, 49, 41. It seemed way out of reach, but it did print, and there's resistance at and over that price, so we closed at a resistance area. Resistance doesn't have to hold. We had a higher target, 59, 77, 77. We actually aren't too far away from that, and time doesn't run out until early Monday. So we still have an active higher target, but we also generated lower targets on Friday of 58, 57.79, and ultimately undercutting the low and going to 58.37.65. Now remember, we did say that sentiment indicators were at levels seen only at market lows. This is just a reminder of what we said, and these are the patterns we'll see next week. So sentiment indicators aren't really pinpoint indicators. You can still go further down, even if sentiment indicators are at extremes. But eventually, before too much time passes, they pay off. When too many people are negative, the market tends to go up. And let's remember, MEJT practically always will leave failed targets when there's a significant change in trend. And that doesn't mean these won't print. But if they don't print, you can explain it as a major change in trend, which this is a good candidate to be. During the day, we got an ultimate sell signal in the morning, and the move up was called false, and ultimately we did trade lower. The afternoon gave us a sell signal, but it printed the target immediately, so this low was at resistance. Ultimately, we should trade out of the range of these three bars. Doesn't mean it has to happen now. I've had some of these that printed much later, and once every 3 years I have one which doesn't print. But there is a lower target ultimately that we undercut this, which could fail, but that's not. If it fails, it better fail pretty fast, because the rest of this stuff is pretty positive. This rally is also called false. Gives us a target of 58, 57, 79. That might print. I mean, you've got 5 waves up, and as we'll see, you stop right at resistance. But if you break through resistance, we could be bombs away on the upside. This is Tom DeMark's TDST line. There's support at and 1 bar under the line, so far support's holding. This is the count on the weekly chart. That's really enough to satisfy the call for a correction, but usually if that's going to work, you get more. There are a number of places at which his counts can end, so we can go a little bit higher and trigger it again. I mean, bar 13 doesn't have to finish early, and you can have other bar 13s which obey all the rules. You could also have this work right here. I mean, this rally might be reversed immediately and you could drop. You could consolidate over time, work out the overextended that way, or you could fail. And if these fail, they fail in grand style. If we get a rally here, if we do, hasn't happened yet, This would be a failure. We can't really call it a failure of the pattern. It would be an underperformance of the pattern, but it would be compatible with rallying in grand style. This is the futures contract, and there's a big spike. These spikes occur in terms of time close to market lows. That's over, you got 2.67 million contracts just in the ES contract, and when you throw in the mini, you should be well over 3 million equivalent, and that's the type of volume you see at lows. You see how close these spikes occur to market lows. A spike right there. This is my long-term count. I've changed the color. It just reflects different degrees. Doesn't change the count, just what degree the wave is. And my long-term target is 69.9787. And the idea is, if this is wave 1 and that's wave 2, and that's wave 3, you'd like to see some kind of action going on at Fibonacci levels of wave 3. And wave 2 is ending right at the 38.2%, so it certainly is a logical place. We said when we broke through this line it wasn't a valid break, and that at some point we should retrace to it. So we did, and that's another resistance area. But we said even though we didn't have to return to this line, we almost always would. And so I'm not convinced this is over. You can also count this as an ABC with C equal to A, and if that's the right count, that would possibly complete wave 2. That would put us in the wave 3 of multiple degree. Here's 1, 2, 1, 2. If we keep going up here, that's wave 3 of multiple degree. And if you look at it at the 65-minute chart, you've got your A. I was calling this an X wave, but it could easily be a B. The fibs work. And if that's ABC, if that's what it is, C is equal to A right there. You've got an ABC. This could be wave 2 right here if this holds, or isn't undercut by very much. Now again, you're at resistance. If you stop at resistance, nothing stops us from hitting these targets. These are live targets. But this target, 59.77, is also a live target until early tomorrow, Monday. And if we leave these behind and go up, that's just par for the course. So I don't know how we're going to open Monday. We could open way down here. We could open way down here, way up here. I don't know. This is 5 waves up. You could undo this, but this could still be in the third wave. This could be 1, 2. We could still be in the third wave higher and keep going up. You don't know at this point. If this resistance holds, and if this wall into the close, which is probably short covering panic, if that gets reversed, we'll probably trade over here very quickly, and that would put these lower levels into play. Don't forget there's a Woodson change in trend and date on Thursday, and there is some leeway on that. Friday might be pushing it a bit, but it isn't impossible. It's within his range. And if we dropped a bit more and got closer to Thursday, would give a much cleaner entry, because even if I were watching the market on Friday, I doubt I would have bought that. That's too much even for me to call. So if we do drop, I think we'll undercut this and put these in play. But if we keep going up, 59.77.77 is still in play. These higher price targets are all going to be seen at some time. We gap up, keep going up. I think we're probably in a third wave of multiple degree. We could go up 1,000 points. Not in the day. Monday's pattern has a really high regardless of where we open. Sentiment readings are at an extreme seen only at significant market bottoms. That's not a pinpoint indicator and doesn't require us to go up immediately. We rally to a resistance area in a straight line. Either we get, that was the MEJT resistance and the trend line resistance. Either we gap over resistance or resistance wins, meaning the moves over won't stay. There are lower MEJT targets, and it's possible to count the late rally as 5 waves up. And the wall into the close often is followed by gapping down, and if the move is a false move, we should gap down Monday, promptly undo the entire last hour rally, and we'll know that Monday. We don't know that now. However, maintaining a gap up Monday would very likely put us into a wave 3 of multiple degree higher. There remains a higher MEJT target. His preferred time frame hasn't run out yet, and the wave counts compatible with the current consolidation is having ended. Multiple higher targets have been saying that at some time the current decline will end and the long-term rally will continue. If this isn't the low, I think it's darn close to it in terms of time. I don't know if we're going to undo this or not. If we did undo it and dropped a bit more, I would buy it. But I'm not certain we're going to be that lucky. Sometimes everyone gets trapped. And if we do gap up and we hold it, I think it's up in a way with much higher prices. I know just about every website I go to tells us how it's a bear market and we're going to drop and all that stuff. When everyone's on one side, I take the other one. Some of my best calls have been when nobody agrees with me. And if we gap up and we hold it, I think we're due for a big rally. Doesn't mean it has to happen. We can gap down, go a bit lower. But if we gap up, that's what I'm going to play, and that's today's call.